Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K Facebook Live. And today I'm going to show you how I made a card with the Welcoming Window stamp set bundle from Stampin' Up, which is another one of my favorite ones. There are so many good ones that are on the sale that's happening, which we'll talk about that in just a second, but so many good ones. I love the stamp set bundle. It's been one of my favorites for a long time, and I hope that you love it too. So I made a card with it. It's a really simple card, but hopefully you like it. Like I said, I was trying to, I liked the white on white look. It was for a color challenge actually that I was working on, and kind of a color and theme challenge, I guess. And it had lots of white and black and browns, and so anyway, I thought this would fit perfectly with it. So hey, Karen and Bree, thanks so much for joining today. So this is the card we're going to be making today. I used the Welcoming Window stamp set bundle, which again, it's a great stamp set. Good sentiments in it, good images in it, really easy to stamp with, really easy to die cut with. There are the coordinating window box flower dies. I'm sorry, window flower box dies. I was going to get it backwards. Window flower box dies, I think is what they're called. But they're bundled together, and you can save 10% normally with the bundle pricing, but during the month of March, they're actually an additional 20% off the bundle. So yay for that. It's a great deal. If you don't have this bundle, you definitely need to get it. So Julie and Sherry and Elise, and I know I saw another name fly by too, and I apologize, I was not paying attention. And Marilyn's here, Barbara's here. Okay, so thanks so much for joining. I appreciate you all being here. And so again, this is the main stamp set bundle that we're going to be using. Let me set a few things aside here. One other thing that obviously the sentiment on here, I didn't stamp. This is a die cut. This is from the Amazing Thanks dies. And these are in the mini catalog. So the Welcoming Window is from the annual catalog. The die set is for the sentiment is from the mini catalog. And it's actually bundled with a different stamp set in that catalog, but I'm obviously not using that stamp set here. But it's a great set of dies. Love that these layer one over the top of each other. So it has the words, thanks, you are amazing. So it's got all those for options, and you can cut them up and snip them up however you like to use them. So anyway, so yeah, and they're layering dies. So you've got the more detailed sentiment, and then one that layers underneath it. So hey, Jerry and Jillian, I'm glad you like it. Glad, yeah. It's like I said, I was pretty happy with the way it turned out. Pretty clean and simple, which is sort of how I roll. So. One other thing that I used on here, and again, I don't know how well you can see it with the light glare on it, but I used the Brick and Mortar 3D embossing folder. And again, hopefully you can see on the background of it that the background panel underneath the window is actually embossed with that embossing folder. So, all right, so I think that's all of the stuff. So a couple things before we get going. Today, I just announced this on my blog. So I am doing a little double reward point ordering bonus for any. Oh, I got junk on my forms and everything. Okay, double reward point ordering bonus for anyone that orders $50 or greater during the next week. So we have through Monday the 28th, which is actually my birthday. So I'm celebrating by doing double points for y'all for my birthday week. And when you get to be as old as I am, you get to celebrate at least a whole week, if not a month. At least that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. So, hey, Karen, thanks for joining. So again, normally you get one reward point for every $50 that you spend with me in my Stampin' Up store, but for this week, you're going to get two for every $50 that you spend. And once you collect 8 points, you get a free $40 order of your choice from me. So nice little bonus for you if you're interested in collecting up some awesome free good stuff. So, all right, next up we have the, hey Kay, thanks for joining. We got the Waves of the Ocean product collection that's available now. It's a beautiful set of products. There is a stamp set and stamp set dies, stamp set bundle. And then there are some pretty Waves of the Ocean 12x12 designer paper, blue foils 12x12 specialty paper, and Rhinestone Waves basic jewels that are all available now for everyone. And I like it. It's a week-long celebration. Like I said, as old as I am, I think that maybe it could be a whole month. So, hey, yeah, I think we could do a couple months. Yeah, all right. We can celebrate all the way in between yours and mine, Amy. So, all right. So this is available. The designer paper, foils, and gems are only available while supplies last through May 2nd. The stamp set and dies are going to be in the next annual catalog, so those will be around for a little bit, but just get them now because you're going to want them anyway. So, all right. So we've got the Savings Are in Bloom that I talked with a little bit briefly earlier. Savings Are in Bloom volume sale from Stampin' Up, which runs through the entire month of March. You can get the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, as well as 13 different bundles on sale for 20% off. The details are posted on my blog. You can see the pictures up close, rather than trying to squint and look at the little ones on here. But 20% off the bundle pricing, which is an awesome deal. So, and then in addition to that, and the ordering special that I've already got going on, I'm doing a tutorial bundle for any order of $50 or greater placed through me during the month of March as well. So normally you just get one set of tutorials for the month. So the March ones are Daffodil Daydream. But because there are so many awesome bundles that are on sale this month, I thought we'd bring back some of the past bundles and put them all, or past tutorials, and bundle them all together. And you get a set of 7 sets of tutorials. So it's an awesome little bonus for you if you place an order of $50 or greater through me during the month of March. All right, enough about that. I think I've yapped on long enough. Let's get to some actual stamping. So, all right, on my card, my original one, I did a top fold card just because that's my preferred card base. For the one we're doing today, it's actually going to be a side fold card just so that I could show you that it works with either one. So this is thick basic white cardstock that I've got for the card base. And if you have not tried the thick basic white cardstock, definitely get it because you'll love it for card bases. The regular basic white is nice and it's fine for stamping and whatever, but it's a little flimsy when it comes to card bases. So definitely check out the thick basic white, and we have thick very vanilla as well. And they're much closer to the regular cardstock weights. So they're not quite as thin and as smooth, but they're great for card bases. So definitely check them out. So hey, Susan, thanks for joining. And Mary is here as well from rainy Kansas City. Yeah, we actually have a nice, beautiful, sunny day today, which is a little unusual. So, all right. I used the brick and mortar 3D embossing folder to already emboss ahead of time a panel of basic white cardstock, and it's cut to 4 by 5 1/4. And again, all of the measurements are going to be on my blog tomorrow, so don't worry about trying to get anything written down or figured out as we go along. And I will share a link to this to my blog post in the description of this video as soon as the blog post is live, so you'll be able to go find the details if you want them. So I'm going to just adhere that to the card front, and again, just try to get it fairly centered and fairly straight. Main thing on that one. And the nice thing about the brick is there's no up or down on it, so you don't have to worry about whether it's right side up or upside down. It's all good. So, all right, I did quite a bit of the kind of just plain die cutting ahead of time, just because I know it's like watching paint dry, sitting and watching me doing tons of die cutting, so not so much fun. But one of the things I did want to show you is this window die cut. It has the little squares that cut out of it, obviously, when you cut the window. So, hey, Diane, thanks for joining. And I see Jean is here as well. So great, awesome. Thanks for joining me today. All right, so I have got my window die cut, and this actually has little squares, well, almost squares, I guess those are a little rounded on the top, that it cuts out of it, that you can actually, if you're going to put it on a card front and you want it to not be see-through, you can sit and put all the little squares back in, or you can be kind of lazy like me. And then there is a rectangle die in the window flower box dies, which is this one, and it's actually designed to cut out the stamped window image in the stamp set, but it also fits pretty closely underneath this die cut. So if you want it to have a, just a particular color on the background, if you want to do blue or yellow, make it look like there's, the lights on in the window, or like me, just wanted it to be white, you can basically lay these two one on top of the other, and you will all be very amazed by my fussy cutting skills. Take your paper snips and just basically hack around the edges. Try not to cut the actual die cut. So snip it off a little bit there. Snip it off a little rounded here around the top. Same thing over here. We're just going to round the top a little bit. And then snip off a little bit along this edge. And we will glue these two pieces together. Once I verify that I didn't snip too far or too deep on anything, or that I've got, don't have anything hanging out that shouldn't be hanging out. But that's it. So that's actually how I did this, because I'm kind of lazy. Again, like I said, I'm kind of a lazy stamper, so anything I can do to make things go faster or be easier, that's what I do. All right, so we're going to add a little bit of liquid glue, hopefully not too much, along the little window frame here. Sorry, gluing and talking apparently is a challenge for me today. So just trying to keep it to a little thinner bead of glue so I don't end up with lots of glue globs when I put these two pieces together. Put the lid on that, and here's my little, I do have the little tweezers, the reversible tweezers. These are EK Success, which is something you could find on Amazon or kind of anywhere that sells crafting supplies. You'll be able to find a pair of those if you should want them. And they come in really handy when you're doing this type of gluing. They also work nicely for embellishments too if you have littler things and, you know, big man hands like I have. So, all right, if you have any little extras like this, I've got a little bit peeking out here around the top. Just take your snips and clean it up and all good. All right, so we're done with that part of it. The next thing I did was I cut the hinges from basic black cardstock and making sure that I've got it right side up. And we're going to adhere these. I had cut, hopefully I have, there it is, the shutters as well from basic white cardstock. And we're just going to glue these little bits together. I guess I should have glued one of them ahead of time. And just, it doesn't require very much glue at all. Just a little bit on either side of it. And again, placement doesn't exactly matter on the first one. The way that I usually do it is I glue on one side first, which we'll be doing that. And then I flip the other one. Offset tweezers to hold the knots. Yeah, they work. They are handy for many, many things. It's like having a third set of, you know, a third hand, which is handy when you're crafting a lot of times because, yeah, especially if you're like me and kind of fumble around and have fat fingers that don't always like to do things easily. So, all right, so I'm just adhering those two together. And then I'm going to take this one and turn it like this, and then this one and turn it like this. And I'm going to try to get it, again, they're going to be across the window from each other, so they don't have to be perfectly lined up, but I'm going to try to get it so that they're somewhat lined up so that it looks like a normal window with the little hinges on it. Because you don't want it to be, you know, stick one of them down here and one of them up there or something where it looks a little crazy. So try to get them as close together as possible. And again, like I said, they're going to be across the window from each other, so nobody's going to notice if they're a tiny bit different, so you don't need to worry too much about it. Whoop, I almost put the glue on the wrong side of that one. All right. Put a little dot here and there. So, hey, Catherine, thanks for joining. I appreciate you being here, and no worries on being late. You know, I always yap for a while before before we really get started on the card making. So, all right. So there we go. We'll turn that. Whoop. And there I've got, see, this is what happens when you have fat fingers. So, all right. So I'm going to take this one and stick it on down here. And again, just try to get it so that they're straight and lined up somewhat. They don't have to be perfect. All right. So we've got our two shutters. We've got our window done. Now I'm going to go back to my card front. And I'm going to take a little bit of Stampin' Seal or multi-purpose liquid glue, whichever one is your preferred adhesive. I generally tend to like Stampin' Seal because, as you can see from my liquid gluing, I often make a mess. So, all right, so I'm going to take this, and hopefully you can see. I'm trying to make sure that I'm on the screen here. And I'm trying to line up here and here with the 6 and 10 line so that I know that 8 is in the middle. And hopefully line it up straight up and down. And then I'm going to use that as my general guide for how to get my window to be mostly centered. Again, it's not going to be perfect because you don't have a line stuck down the middle of your card. Unless you want to draw a line down the middle of your card, you're welcome to. But again, usually doing something like that where you just sort of eyeball it is close enough. And then I'm going to take a little Stampin' Seal to add the shutter next to it. And then the other shutter next to it on the other side. All right. Maybe. There we go. All right. So the window's starting to come together. Again, this is the little window box that I had pre-cut from basic white cardstock, again with one of the coordinating window flower box dies. I don't know why I'm like stuck and I want to put the flower in the wrong spot when I say that. So I am using the mini Stampin' Dimensionals today, as you can see on this one. Because they fit on here, so I won't grumble too much about them instead of using my half Stampin' Dimensionals like I usually do. Okay, why are my fingers not wanting, there we go. Peel that off, so let's see if I can get this to, there we go. And then we're going to take that and we're just going to tuck it right underneath the window die cut and stick it down with the dimensionals. All right. Next up, we're finally going to get to a little bit of stamping. So I've got a piece of basic white cardstock and I've got a couple of images set up here, and we're going to start with soft suede ink. And this is the little picture image from the Welcoming Window stamp set. And I'm just going to make sure that I've got it good and inky. And we're going to stamp it again on the basic white cardstock. All right, that one turned out pretty good. And I'm going to close up this ink pad before I stick my fingers in it. Then I've got Old Olive ink. And this is the kind of, it's a little bit larger. There are two sets of greenery and two sets of flowers in this. This one's a little bit larger of the flower images. And I've got Old Olive cardstock. And I'm going to take that and stamp it. Old Olive cardstock, Old Olive ink. Oh my goodness. I'm going to take that and stamp it right next to the picture image. And then the last color that I used was So Saffron. And these are the little flowers that coordinate with this particular greenery image. And I've got So Saffron ink, just going to ink that up. And again, it's pretty easy to line these up as I say that and try to do it through the camera. Normally it's pretty easy to line them up as long as you're not looking through a camera and trying to do this from the side and hoping that you get it on straight. Not too bad, I think. It was closer than I thought it was going to be when I initially put it down on the paper. I'm like, oh. So, all right. So let me grab, hey, Penny, thanks for hopping in today. So let me grab the coordinating dies that go with this. So again, there's this die cut that's going to cut out the flowers, and then this one is going to cut out the picture. And I'm just going to be off screen for a second, die cutting over here to my left. So y'all can chat about how nice the weather is or how yucky it is in your area while I'm die cutting. So... all right, so we're getting ready here. My younger daughter has spring break next week, so that's exciting for her. My older daughter does not. They have two totally different spring break schedules because one's in high school and one's in middle school. So that's always entertaining. All right, I'm gonna run the flowers through first because I want to make sure I get these hopefully cut right. All right, so there's my little flower die cut. And I'm going to run the picture through, maybe, if I can get it to cooperate with me. The picture is wanting to scoot around when I don't want it to. All right, hopefully I got it. Yeah, I think we got it pretty close there. All right. So I got the two die cuts done, and we're going to take those and just adhere them to the card front with a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals or minis, whatever I have left, because I'm almost actually, I think I'm getting to the point where I'm almost out of my little strip of Stampin' Dimensionals, and I didn't grab an extra one. So we'll probably have to use a couple little minis to put this on. All right, so the picture is going to go on first. And oh, look at y'all with your 80-degree weather. Yeah, it's not quite that warm here, but although it is getting nicer, so I can't grumble too much. I think we're supposed to get some rain this week, which I can't grumble about that either because I don't mind the rain, as long as it's not freezing in rain. All right, so again, grabbing a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals to put on the flowers. I'm trying to be a little careful and not put the dimensionals down here near the bottom of the die cut because I'm going to kind of slide it and maneuver it around the picture when I put it on the card front. So I want to make sure that I don't have dimensionals down at the bottom and stuck in the way of where I'm wanting to adhere things. So I'm sliding it in. Hopefully you can see that, sliding this piece in behind the picture handle and then putting the other piece over the top. And there we go. So that's it for the flowers on here. Next up, again, I'm going to show you how I did this because I used the adhesive sheets to adhere the sentiment on the card front. So the adhesive sheets, I don't know how well you can see them on here, they actually come in a 6x12 pack and they're scored at the 2-inch point. So you cut them basically however wide you need them. And then they come apart, they're kind of perforated or scored or whatever you want to say. And they come apart like a little sticker and you just stick it on the back of whatever you want to die cut. And they work great for these word dies because, again, if you're like me and are not good at gluing things and you end up with glue gooped everywhere, particularly on the foil sheets, I find that the adhesive sheets work great on these. All right, so I've got actually a piece of the brushed metallic cardstock, which was, I think it was in the holiday catalog, but it is a carryover item, and we're going to cut the panel that I just stuck the adhesive sheets on the back of with one of the Amazing Thanks dies. So, and when I do the die cutting, particularly on pieces that I have put the adhesive sheets on the back. I usually run it forward through and then back it through again, just so that it gets it a little, I don't know, it takes, I sometimes find it takes a little extra to get it to cut the adhesive sheet and whatever paper it is that you're wanting it to cut. But usually it comes out pretty easily if you cut it through or run it through with the die cutting machine once and then run it back through again. All right, so let me pick out the little centers of the letters here. See if I can get those all poked out. And then we're going to take the sentiment out of the die cut. And they're a little delicate, but not too terrible. So don't have to worry about, being super, super careful with it. You don't want to rip it out because you potentially could rip it because it is a little bit of a thinner die cut. But I do have a piece of soft suede cardstock that I have cut with the outline for the thanks already. So cut that ahead of time. And then again, I've got my adhesive sheets on the back of here, and hopefully I can see where the edges of them are. All right, there's one of the edges. So I'm going to take, again, I find it a little easier if I have something to kind of start peeling it with. So that peeled off that piece of the adhesive sheets. And then I'm going to go to the other side and find my other little spot where the adhesive sheets started on it. And you can take your pick tool, or you can use the end of your paper snips. If you've got nicer fingernails, you might be able to pick them with your fingernails. My fingernails sort of are like the dog has chewed on them. So I don't have nice strong fingernails, so they don't work for picking a lot of those types of things. But if you have good fingernails, you can do that as well. So I'm just using the adhesive sheets to place the die cut on top of my cardstock die cut, and hoping to get it lined up here. And you can wiggle it around just a little bit. Just make sure you haven't pressed it down really hard yet before you press it down the final time to make sure it's stuck there forever. Because, again, it's a little bit flexible in some of these thinner parts, but still pretty easy to stick on. So, all right, so we've got some multi-purpose liquid glue that I'm going to be using to stick my sentiment on with. And again, I'm trying to put the glue in spots where it's a little bit wider, so hopefully I don't have it oozing everywhere. And I may put just a little touch out here on the end of the T just to make sure that stays stuck down. And I can grab my little tweezers so that I can see a little bit better and get my fingers out of the way for adhering this to the card front. And again, just trying to get it centered and straight. And if it's neither, that's okay too. It's handmade. So yeah, the adhesive sheets are awesome if you remember to use them, but my issue is that I often forget. And then I get everything all die cut and I'm sticking it together and I'm saying to myself, this would have been a really good one to put the adhesive sheet on the back of if I'd remembered, but then I didn't remember. So, all right, so I've got some of the brushed brass butterflies, and I'm just going to stick 2 of those on. So I've got to put a larger one up here on the window, and then a little smaller one over here on the shutter. Oop. I tilted a little further than I wanted to be, and get the Stampin' dimensional cover off of the card front would be another bonus. And so that's it for the card front. So it's pretty easy. And again, just a couple little die cuts. I love that the window dies on here cut and emboss at the same time. It's a cool look. I don't know how well it shows up in the video, but you can see it really well in person. So. All right, for the inside of the card, I kept that pretty simple as well, and I've got to bring out the soft suede ink again. Love all the white. Yeah, I don't know. The white on white cards have definitely become one of my favorites, and I do them probably too often, but I can't help myself because I love the look of them. All right, so we've got the little picture that I'm stamping in soft suede ink, and then I've got one of the smaller flower pots that I'm going to stamp next to it in soft suede ink, and then one of the taller flower pots we're going to sort of stamp off to the other side of it over here as well in soft suede ink. And then the last little piece I'm going to add in is a little bit of greenery in the little flower pot. And this is it's sort of like a corner piece, basically, is what it looks like. Going to add that in old olive ink. I know the white on, sometimes I get, like I said, I almost have to stop myself because I make the white on white things too often. So I don't know, I just love the look. So all right, so added in a little bit of greenery for inside the smaller of the flower pots. And then we are going to flip this over and put a little Stampin' seal on the back of it. And we're going to adhere it inside the card base, and we're going to be all done for today. right, if I can clean up my mess, that is. Goodness, I have things everywhere. All sorts of backings and all sorts of things stuck. Okay, so let's stick that to the inside of the card. Then we're going to fold it closed and do a little crease with the bone folder. And that's it. Card's all done. So, all right. So thanks so much for joining me today. I appreciate you being here. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I do want to let you know, my younger daughter, as I said earlier, is actually on spring break next week, and she and I are doing a little trip to go see my family in the Midwest. So I'm actually not going to be live next week, Tuesday. I will be live on Friday, this week, Friday Eastern Time, or 2 o'clock Eastern Time, I'm sorry, on my YouTube channel. But next week, I'm not going to be doing videos. I'll still be posting on my blog, so feel free to stop by there, which is stampwithamyk.com. But I'm going to be skipping videos for next week since we'll be out of town. So, all right, thanks again for joining today. I appreciate you all being here. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. I'll plan to see you on Friday around 2 o'clock Eastern Time over on my YouTube channel. Thanks for joining. Have a good day.